Habits and Health, episode 24.
Welcome to the Habits and Health podcast, where we believe creating healthy habits should be easy. Brought to you by an educator and coach for anyone who wants to create a healthier life. Here's your host, Tony Wynyard.
Welcome to another edition of the podcast where we give you ideas on habits that can improve your health in some capacity. My guest today is Gian-Carlo Torres, who is going to tell us all about a product that strengthens your immune system, that maintains a stronger immune system, and is a glutathione precursor. So we're going to hear a lot more about that and how it helps people and Giancarlo's story that's coming up very soon. If you do enjoy this episode, or you know anyone who you feel would really get some benefit from some of the things that Giancarlo shares, please do share the episode with them, and hope you enjoy this week's episode with Gianco. Habits and Health, and my guest today is Gian-Carlo Torres. Did I say that right?
Yes, you did, Tony.
How you doing, Gianco?
Super good. How about yourself?
I'm very good. And we find you in the States today?
That's right, here in the great city of Atlanta, Georgia. And
how have you found your way there?
Well, because of my dad's job before, we had always been moving pretty much, to States. And then, basically it's been from Florida to Puerto Rico to Georgia, and back and forth. And after a while, we just decided to stay here in Atlanta.
And what is it that attracts you about Atlanta?
Two things, actually. The people and the food. The people here are fantastic. And I didn't even realize that so we lived here basically before I came back to Atlanta. We were here almost 10 years. And we always did love Atlanta and Georgia in general. Then we went back to Florida. Also liked Florida. And then we came back to Atlanta. Once I came back to Atlanta and I realized the change of people. People think bigger. People are extremely nice. People are very urban. I don't know. It's just something about the people here. And everybody that comes to Atlanta tells me the same thing. They say, you know what? I like this city more and, whatever. But the people in Atlanta, just fantastic. That's the first thing. Second thing is the food. When you think about food, you think about New York, when it comes to U.S., right? You think about New York City, think about California, great places for food. But Atlanta comes to Italian food, and that's my favorite. It is truly phenomenal. So the people and food is what I love about Atlanta.
Well, and you talk about food, and I know that you're big into health. And so I guess that's an important part for you.
Absolutely. Yeah. I always say that a day without good food is not really a good day for me.
And so how did the whole kind of health thing come about for you? How did you get so much into health?
It all started with my mom, because my mom, she's almost 20-year, I'm a breast cancer survivor. And you know how it is, whenever you get a condition like cancer, then you have to kind of obligate yourself to look for good foods and, nutritious foods. And so she kind of raised us, eating whole foods, eating organic foods, eating, high quality foods, high fat, low sugar. And that just kind of started. So, both my mom and my dad and my grandparents from mom's side, they just always put on us, hey, if you're going to eat well, you have to eat healthy. And, you don't want to have cancer like mom did. And, so, yeah, it was definitely because of my mom's situation with cancer 20 years ago.
And so how are you involved in the health industry now? What is it you do?
Yes. So I help people now with the immune system. That's what I specialize in. And I do this also because of my mom, because 4 years ago, she got sick, not with cancer, but she got lupus. And the lupus gave her some very bad chronic fatigue. So even though we have always been working in volunteer work, since I'm 12, we've been dedicating over 70 hours of volunteer work. So we had always worked as a family, always, always, always. But from that, she was just declining little by little. And that was very sad, Tony, as you can imagine. And so that kind of got us, okay, we thought we were doing things right, but it looks like we're not because she's ill. What can we do now? And in that process, we found a nutrient from Canada that, with good, compelling research. And we gave it to her, and well, the rest is history. The results were so fantastic. I remember a week later, of her consuming it. I wake up a Sunday morning. It feels like yesterday, Tony. And I see her cleaning and reorganizing the kitchen with great energy. And I said, Mom, well, what happened? You've been a whole year in bed. And she says, well, it's this nutrient. She says, like I still have some pain and all that, but I have energy at least. And I said, huh. And in that research, I really liked what I saw. I really liked what it did to her and the research and everything. So I felt I'm compelled to help people with it. So I help people with the immune system. That's the best way to put it.
And is there like a specific type of people you help? Or is it like a particular age group or demographic or?
Yeah, well, you know what? There are people that work better with it, right? So for example, if someone does have some sort of illness, okay, or someone that is over 35, it does work better, right? Because as you know, Tony, people that are over 35, usually the immune system weakens a little bit more, okay? So of course, once they get on the product, they usually get a better result, okay? And, they usually feel just that they have better quality of life. And if someone has any type of illness, but any illness that involves inflammation per se, which is most of them, then of course, once you regulate the immune system, then great things can happen. And like I always tell everybody, look, this isn't the cure at all. This isn't, like an alternative, but it's a great complement. It's the best complement. So, it doesn't matter if you're in any medical treatment or natural treatment, really. Just complement this and you see your immune system. So anybody could and should consume it, in my opinion, in whatever age. But the demographic, I would say, is people that are over 35 years old.
And is there any particular condition it works particularly well with?
You know what? I would love to give you an answer there. I can't really say. I would say the people that I've helped the most with this nutrient is, funny enough, diabetes and anything with the liver. I would say that, I'm not going to give 100% accuracy because I'd be lying, but a good 90% of everybody that's come to me with those problems, I've been able to help, to the point that doctors don't have to give them drugs anymore. So I would say those two. It's literally hundreds, Tony. But those two, I'm pretty confident that I can always help them.
And you mentioned before that it's not only this, but they also have to do, and so are they also having to do like sort of exercise and get the mindset right and so on? I mean, what other things would they also need to do?
For sure. Well, I mean, sometimes they ask me, hey, what should I eat? And I always tell them, look, I'm not your doctor, nor am I a doctor, so I can't tell you what to eat or what not to eat, right? I say, so, I can't give you that advice. I said, but as a friend, I can tell you, use common, just use common advice, common sense advice is what I meant. Don't go, don't go to McDonald's every day. Don't eat sugar or, abuse alcohol, sleep 2 hours a night and expect amazing results. Mm-hmm. Surprisingly, I have seen people with even bad habits do really good with the product, but it's not recommendable. Of course not. It's definitely not recommendable. So, sometimes if they ask me of what to eat or what not to eat, I just recommend them books of doctors or podcasts or even some doctors that I know. Say, hey, look, this doctor's great. Talk to him. He's in the functional approach. For example, you have this other doctor. I'm a Dr. Hyman. He preaches I'm a vegan diet. Great, whole nutritious. Be wise. So, I try never to give medical advice. I'm not a doctor. And I don't want to be, act like them and then and then get in trouble. But as a friend, I always try to tell them, hey, just be wise. Be wise and find good doctors.
And so you mentioned about it's a nutrient. I mean, what nutrient is it?
Yes. So the nutrient, so the product itself is called Immunocal. Okay. The nutrient is called cysteine.
Okay.
So there's lots of forms of cysteine. And I'm going to explain that in a second. Cysteine usually is found in some foods. Okay, like raw broccoli, basically anything raw fish, raw meat, or raw eggs. Okay, what happens is that there's a problem with this type of cysteine. For example, starting with raw eggs. Raw eggs, even though they have some sort of cysteine, could be a little dangerous with the salmonella. So most people are kind of cautious of that. Okay, raw broccoli does have cysteine, but you would have to eat literally boxes and boxes and boxes every single day to have enough. And Tony, if you ate boxes and boxes of broccoli, that wouldn't be a good day, for you and your family, right? If you ate raw red meat, has cysteine, but has high bacteria. So that's also not recommendable. And then you also have raw fish. Raw fish, of those four, I would say is probably the best one. But recently, fish hasn't been as healthy as before because of high levels of mercury.
Mm-hmm.
So 42 years ago, Dr. Bunos and Dr. Kongshaven, doctors from Montreal, Canada, they knew all this. But they understood that this cysteine, which is a nutrient, which is an amino acid, once our cells receive it, our cells make glutathione. And that's kind of the big deal here. But they saw that these weren't good forms of feeding ourselves with cysteine, or at least effective forms to consume it every single day. So that's when, in this discovery, they found out that mother's milk has the highest level of cysteine. But what happens, Tony, and for everybody that is listening, mother's milk is only for babies. It's not for adults. So what do? So in this process of just, feeding mice, they were in a lab and just feeding mice and seeing like what was good, a company from Switzerland sends up a box, says, hey, look, there's this protein. It's undenatured, a whey protein. It has no lactose, no casein. The only thing it has is undenatured whey protein. Try it out in mice, and if it has use it. They're like, okay. So you start feeding the mice with the protein. And they saw that the mice immune system skyrocketed. They said, this is phenomenal. But they had no idea what it was. They said, so they kept feeding mice with this protein, and the immune system was always better. And they also saw that the detoxification was so much better. And they were intrigued, Tony. They said, but what is happening? And in that process, they discovered that it was raising glutathione, which is a molecule we all have. And in that process, again, what they discovered is that once you get raw cow's milk and you extract it, okay, basically, and you take out the lactose, you take out the casein, you take out the fat, okay, so that anybody that is allergic to milk allergies doesn't have any problem. And the only thing you leave is the cysteine. It has a special cysteine, which is called bonded cysteine. And this bonded cysteine basically is a protected cysteine. Now, once your cells receive it, your whole body makes glutathione. That was the discovery. And they kept testing it in mice. Then they started testing it in human beings. And they saw the same results. Time and time again, they say, you know what? This is something that most people have to understand through education and understanding. And that's exactly what we've done. So that's the nutrient.
Wow. And so how long has that been available for?
In the market, it's been available 23 years. The research behind that has been over 42.
Right. And so is this like mostly on sale just in the States or around the world, or?
So right now we actually have business in over 13 countries. So this includes Canada as the home, Canada, US, Mexico, Guatemala. In Europe, we have UK actually, England, Ireland, Scotland. Now we have Spain. Now we're going to open Italy, France, countries South America like Peru, Colombia, Ecuador, Puerto Rico, the Dominican Republic. And the goal, honestly, is to have every single country in the world, so everybody understands this through education and understanding. And
so does it have the same effect in, say, countries that have a different standard type of diet than, say, from America?
Well, that's a good question. In Europe, for example, in the UK, we've seen very good results, okay, by itself. And in Spain also. I would say, I can't say that this product will have the same effect, for example, Japan, because I haven't helped anybody with this product in Japan. So I can't answer that directly. But what I can say is that it really does depend a lot on how people in that place see nutrition. Right. Okay. Some other people in countries are more skeptical about it because they're more about conventional approach, which is necessary. Okay. But now you have to combine both conventional with natural. That's where you get max results. Countries that see nutrition this way usually are a lot more open and makes sense to them. And since it makes sense to them, I've seen that they have better results. As you mentioned earlier, mindset is a big deal. Okay. This isn't a placebo in the sense that if you have a bad mindset, it won't work. I've had negative people consume this and feel amazing and then change their mind. But if you don't have that open mind approach on, hey, let's combine both conventional and nutrition, I think it's going to be harder for you to not only consume it, but to get a result for sure.
Hmm. And so what form does it come in?
It comes in so a box of AminoCal, for example, brings 30 pouches, and each pouch brings 10 grams of protein. So it's a powder, it's a protein, and you just mix it with liquid every single day, and then you consume it. Tastes great.
And so there's so many different types of diets around with keto and vegan, and as you said, pagan that Mark Hyman talks about, and all of the various other diets. Does it make any difference what type of way a person eats as to whether this will be effective or not?
Well, you know what? It does. It does, because there are people, for example, that say, hey, look, I'm vegan, and that comes from animals, so I'm not going to consume it. And of course, everybody has their own beliefs and their own philosophy behind their diets. Some people start a diet for, to not eat animals, like vegan, which I respect. And some people, go, I'm a vegetarian and all that. So I've seen that this product or this protein, per se, which in whatever diet, it does a pretty similar result. Okay. I usually prefer to help people with this product that are consuming grass-fed products. Okay. I'm a grass-fed meats, grass-fed milk, because I've seen better results, but I've also seen fantastic results with people in vegan diets. There's only basically two people that can't consume this product. One is people that are actually allergic, or they were born allergic to mother's milk. That is uncommon, Tony. I haven't encountered someone like that yet, but that's part of the claim. If you are allergic to mother's milk, probably avoid this product because this is the closest thing to mother's milk as possible. The second person that can't consume it is someone that they replace their organ for someone else, and then they're consuming immunosuppressive therapy. If you're usually consuming immunosuppressive therapy so that the body doesn't reject the organ, then it's probably not a good idea to consume this product in the beginning, because this product will maintain your immune system. It's going to regulate it. So it's probably going to pump it up and attack your organ. Those two people, I would never suggest for them to consume this, at least in the beginning. But apart from that, any diet or any person, it's welcome. Of course, everybody has different results, some faster, some slower. As I said, people that are already involved with grass-fed meats and grass-fed stuff and know the value of that, it's usually a lot easier than, for example, someone that is vegan. But once again, I've helped countless people vegan. So, I would say that it's pretty universal.
We hope you're enjoying this episode of the Habits and Health podcast, where we believe creating healthy habits should be easy. If you're looking for the fastest and most effective way to transform your energy and well-being, we invite you to join Tony for an upcoming Habits and Health workshop. This 5-week group workshop will empower you with tools to disrupt unwanted habits and make positive changes easy. You'll enjoy sounder sleep, better energy, less stress, and a happier mood. Workshops begin on the first week of every month, and you can sign up now at tonywinyard.com. Now, back to the show.
And you mentioned before that how much it helped your mum. Are there any other stories any other examples you can give us of people that it's really helped who maybe didn't believe it would help them?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'll give you one of my favorite stories. Last year in March, when the pandemic pretty much started, my referral, someone called me, and he said, "Hey, look, my name is I'm this and this and that," and they told me about this product, and they said that this product would work, and I said, "Yes, it would." How can I help you? What's your problem? First I have to know what they have, for me to see how it can help. And that's where he told me that for the past year or so, he has been battling stage 4 cancer, but actually the cancer has been spread in 5 organs, so you can almost say stage 5. And honestly, Tony, when he told me, though I was confident, I was also a little scared. because basically the doctor had given him 2-3 months of life. I mean, he told me that he couldn't take showers by himself. He needed his wife to help him because he had no energy. He barely could walk, and he basically had no life. He was basically in bed the whole day. And he even had friends that told him, hey, you know what? You've lived a good life, give up. He had friends even that told him that because he was such in a bad situation. But, he's a tough guy. He's a tough guy. And he said, you know what? I want to, I'm going to keep fighting. I'm going to keep fighting. I'm not going to give up. And that's exactly what happened. And so he called and he found out about this product. So I told him, I said, you know what? I said, I can help you. And I explained how this worked in his condition. I also explained, hey, look, again, this is a compliment. This is not the cure at all. Complement this to your treatments. Now, if you want to use this by yourself, by itself, you can, but that's your decision. He said, okay. And eventually I found out that he just consumed this. He consumed it in a very high dosage. I gave him a cancer dosage, put it that way. And he followed it. So I call him, I'm following up with him. And the first month he feels great energy, something he had not had, which was awesome. And in October, after a couple, I would say 5 to 10 calls, I call him and he says, hello, Giancarlo, how are you? And I said, hello, you sound good. And I said, and in the conversation, I asked him, I said, how you feel, what's been the result since? And what he told me was that from cancer in 5 places, he has cancer, I think only in 2 places right now, I'm talking. He couldn't take a shower or do things by himself. And now he can fix his, every single day with his wife, he goes and fixes homes. He builds tables. He has energy. He can do volunteer work now. Before he did a couple hours of volunteer work, now he does over 40 hours of volunteer work because he really does love to help people. And just the other days, I asked him how much GianCarlo helped, and he said that from 1 to 10 has been a 15. And I couldn't believe it because he also had one of the strongest cancers in his brain. And recently he went and the test showed that he didn't have it anymore. So I just actually interviewed him yesterday and I couldn't believe it. And again, this is one extreme case, right, Tony? But there are healthy people like myself that consume it every day just for prevention. And but yeah, I would say that recently that is the story that touches my heart.
And were his doctors able to give any explanation as to what happened?
Well, he's I actually haven't asked what his doctors have told him, honestly. I usually do ask, but not in this case. What I've seen time and time again is doctors, either they're a little closed-minded in the sense like, don't tell me about it. Just keep doing what you're doing, but don't tell me about it. Only a small percentage is like, wait, what are you doing? I want to know. I'll give you one story, Tony. I remember this lady called me from Texas, and she also had a stage 2 breast cancer, which is, it's still cancer, but it wasn't like my friends. And I said, okay. So again, I explained everything. She says, okay. So she also went on, on a very high dosage, on a cancer dosage. And she also decided to take chemotherapy. And I explained that this would complement chemotherapy perfectly. She says, okay, great. And that's what she did. So she starts consuming it a week before her first chemotherapy session. And she goes and she takes the chemo and they say, hey, look, after the session, you're going to feel fatigue. You might lose hair and you might want to vomit, because it's chemo. She says, okay, sounds good to me. It's cancer. Okay. Takes the first session, goes home, feels no side effects. She's eating, working, running. She says, I don't feel anything. Okay. She goes into the second session. They tell her the same thing. She says, okay, put the chemo on and no side effects. And mind you, she's also consuming the product day by day, but she's not saying anything. And she feels fine, no side effects. And she's barely losing hair. And she feels good, normal. And after, the plan was to give her 6 sessions of chemo. And I think after the 3rd session, someone asked her, is this your number 6 already? She says, no, it's going to be my 3rd. And they said, well, looking at your tumor, it seems like you've taken 6 sessions already. What are you doing? And that's when she realized, she says, wait a second, it's what I'm consuming. It's raising glutathione inside the body. And she spoke about it. And the doctor said, well, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. And the doctor's really thrilled. And she stopped with her chemo, and she's been fine since. So some doctors, as I mentioned, some doctors are like, you know what, give me more info on that. Because, this is a product that's in the doctor's book in both US and Canada. So it's well-researched by the medical community. But most doctors would just kind of leave their patient, kind of make their own decision in that sense. Just some doctors kind of investigate it and probably even take it. Who knows?
And what's your approach when, I imagine there must be some people who are very disbelieving. They just think this is too good to be true. What kind of situations have you had with people like that?
Well, you know what? My approach, what I'm determined to do is always to under-promise and over-deliver. Mm-hmm. Okay? I can't change these stories because these are real stories. But even in these stories, I try not to give all the details. Okay? Because if I give all the details, even if it's all true, they, like you said, might say, oh, it's too good to be true. Mm-hmm. Forget it. With that in mind, for someone that is extremely skeptical, which is normal. I was skeptical, my family was skeptical, and 90% of people that are approached are skeptical, and for good reason. There's a lot of bad products out there. There's a lot of false claims out there. And my intention is always, again, education and understanding. Now, how do you educate people so that they understand? Well, research. Research. Just like a real estate agent says, location. It's research. And the nutrition and supplement community, whoever has the most research wins the game. And the reason why I so confidently talk about what I'm talking about, and I show my team, do the same thing, is research. I'll give you, a couple of facts of this product. So it was the first natural product to be in the pharmaceutical book of both US and Canada. That's not common for a nutritional product to be in a pharmaceutical book. Okay, so if anybody who's in the medical community is listening and, of course, knows about that book, the only thing they have to do is just go to that book and then just read what the pharmaceuticals say. So that's the first thing I would say. Second thing, if people like to look and read through the patents, then they have, we have over 70 patents. Now, we have over 6 pharmaceutical patents. Patents that work with cancer and even AIDS, and these are pharmaceutical patents. So it's not something that I could just make up a story, Tony, and say, "Hey, look, I helped with this person." No, just if you don't want to believe me, just read on the medical patent. And honestly, most people don't because it's medical language. But if they want to go, they can absolutely go. It's in the internet, and they can just go and read the pharmaceutical patent. It has over 60 clinical studies. Most studies have been on human beings. Most supplements, the studies are done on mice. But this supplement is done on human beings and mice, but mostly human beings. So, there's so much compelling research that if a skeptical person, even after the research, doesn't want to get it, hey, it's all good, no problem. Truly, no problem. But they can't doubt anymore because it's just not a product based on stories or based on, hey, it worked, it helped on Tony, it helped on Gianco, hey, consume it. Stories are important. Don't get me wrong. But people don't only trust in stories anymore because of so many false claims. So, whoever's skeptical, I always say, look, just here's the research, read it if you want, or here's a podcast, or here's a video, and do your own research. That would be my best tip for everybody that says it's too good to be true.
So the company that created this, are they working on any additional products at the moment?
Yeah. So their goal is to at least make a new product once a year, because they want to, they don't want to stay behind, especially, in the supplement space. I would say that the other breakthrough product, okay, that the company created that helped us get more testimonials really is a product called the ImmunoCal Booster. So what they discovered 2 years ago, they were 2 years trying to, investigate and make this product. They work with the university in Colorado. They were looking for a product that would actually complement ImmunoCal so that ImmunoCal would work even better. And what they discovered is that broccoli seed extract, which is called sulforaphane, as you know, once your body consumes sulforaphane activates a gene called NRF2. And this gene helps glutathione, this molecule we all have, it helps glutathione detoxify 3 times more. And it even becomes better to kill tumors in general. But it's good for prevention or correction. So they were a long time discovering this, and then they made a product that had sulforaphane and also lots of fruits and veggies, over 50. So what they said was, hey, look, consume this product with ImmunoCal, and you will get better results. And I've seen, if we had stories before that product, our stories 4 to 5 times, okay? Because what happens, especially if you live in a big city, most bodies are intoxicated, okay? So after water, the best detoxifier is glutathione, no doubt. So you don't need the booster for your body to detoxify already. But once you add it, the detoxification process skyrockets. So I would say ImmunoCal and ImmunoCal Booster, once you combine those two, those are really our most potent. The company also has the basics, right? It has omegas, the highest quality vitamins, and, just stuff that people usually need or want, to, just to have, a better day-to-day and diet.
So what, how do you see things going for your company, your business over the next few years? Is there any advancements or any new sort of territories? I mean, where do you see things going?
Yeah, well, when the pandemic started, the question was, what's going to happen, right? For everybody, of course, but in our space was like, are people going to be more interested in what we're helping people with, or less interested? And of course, everybody realized that the most important thing for your health is your immune system. There's no doubt. And though we can't make any claims, as you know, well, one claim we can actually make is that this maintains your immune system, healthy or not healthy. And so the demand has been bigger than we've ever seen for the past 20 years, honestly, because people are looking for a strong immune system, but they're looking for a product with compelling research that can prove it. So after the pandemic, people are at least for a little bit, are going to be more aware than ever of their immune system, because they're going to remember COVID-19, what happened with COVID-19. And so that's going to stay in their brain for a while. Like, you know what? I don't want to make the same error of not taking care of my immune system just because that was fine. Because another pandemic can and will happen in the future. So I want to keep the immune system. And let's be honest, COVID-19, even though we know that, things are getting better in some areas, and eventually it's going to go away. We know it's still going to stay around. So people are a little fearful for a good reason, because they want a good immune system. So when it comes to people researching and consuming my product, the demand is going to be bigger than ever. With that in mind, the other thing that I definitely see is that this company was, I would say, a little bit conservative for a long time, and just keeping it in some countries. But eventually, we have a fantastic new CEO, a good friend of mine, Mauricio Dominstein, and he was like, "No, he said, wait a second, this is gold. This must be taken to the whole world, of course, in a legal way, in a way that that anybody can consume it. We have to take it." And since he came, he's we've been opening 2 to 3 countries per year. So the global expansion, of people knowing this product, I would say in the next 5 to 10 years, if things go well, the company will be in 30 to 40 countries, and that gets me happy. That gets me happy because the company's been around 20 years, and it's time for the whole world to know about what we're talking about.
Before we finish, Gianco, I often ask people about books that particularly move them. So, is there a book you can think of that you've read in the last few months, few years, that has particularly moved you for any reason?
One book I'm reading right now, it's by an author called John Maxwell. The title of the book is called Leadership, and he just released that book, I think 2 to 3 years ago or 2 years ago. And the reason why I got that book is, of course, the title intrigued me. I know the author already, so I trust him. But it's because in 2020, there was such a shift in everything, and how you work, how you feed yourself. So I noticed I have to shift how I think. I have to not only shift the way I think, have to influence people on how to shift their way of thinking for good. And this includes business, includes health, this includes money, this includes everything. And the book has been truly phenomenal. It's one of those books, Tony, that you read it, you listen to it, it's like candy. It's like candy because it's so sweet. It's music to your ears because so many things make sense. So I would say, my tip for everybody, that's listening, leadership, shift your brain, whatever worked 2-3 years ago probably is not working now. And that especially in nutrition, definitely shift. And good things will happen for sure.
If people want to find out about the product and more about you, where should they go?
Yes. So I'm a big social media guy, and I think most people now have social media accounts. So I have 3 social media accounts, and anybody can find me. So if the person, whoever's listening has Instagram, you can literally just type, "This is Gianco." So Gianco is GIANCO. It's a public account. Just follow me, send me a message, and have a great conversation. Through LinkedIn, it's my full name, Gian-Carlo Torres, GIAN-CARLO, Torres with an S in the end, and you'll find me. And also on Facebook, same name. Now, I'll give a little sneak peek here. I'm rebuilding my website, and the name is also going to be This is Gianco. Now, it's still not finished, so I can't really give it away yet. But meanwhile, you can follow me. I'm through social media, and I would love to have a conversation with you.
Well, and finally, is there a quotation that you like?
Yes, you know what? It's and I actually just heard this recently, and it's that everything in life is 80% mindset, 20% mechanics. And I live by that, Tony.
Why does that resonate with you?
Well, because there are people that have all the right resources, but don't take action and have the wrong mindset, and then they mess up. And then there are people that don't have any resource, but have the right mindset, are hungry, and then they find it. So my thing is, okay, what kind of mindset do I have? What kind of mindset do I have? Or how can I keep growing my mindset so that once there's an opportunity, I can get it and find it or help people with it? And it's just a reality, there are people less qualified than me doing things that I'm supposed to be doing. And then there are people a lot more qualified than me that are not doing the things that I'm doing. So for me, it all starts and ends with mindset. So that's my obsession, to work with my mindset every single day of my life.
Gianco, thank you very much for your time. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Oh, it's been my pleasure, Tony. Thank you.
Next week is episode 25 of Habits and Health, but it's actually the 150th episode of the various incarnations. The first incarnation was Exceeding Expectations, which was 100 episodes. Then there was 25 episodes of Happiness versus Flourishing. And as I said, next week will be episode 25. And that will be with Elizabeth Christoph. And she runs a brain-based wellness company, which is a method that puts the brain and nervous system at the center of your movement, training, behavior, change practice, and mindset coaching. So we're going to hear a lot more about how it is that Elizabeth does that next week, episode 25 of Habits and Health. Hope you enjoyed this week's show. Please do share it with anyone who you feel will get some value from it, and I'll see you next week.
Thanks for tuning in to the Habits and Health Podcast, where we believe creating healthy habits should be easy. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and leave us a review on your favorite podcast app. Sign up for email updates and learn about coaching and workshop opportunities at tonywinyard.com. See you next time on the Habits and Health Podcast.